Are you selling your Pixel Worlds items too early without realizing someone else is about to profit from your panic? In Pixel Worlds, some players lose Bitcoins not because they buy bad items, but because they sell good items at the worst possible time. A price drops for a few days, people start undercutting, rumors spread, and suddenly players dump rare items way cheaper than they should. But sometimes that drop is not the item dying. Sometimes it is panic. Sometimes it is manipulation. And sometimes it is just the market giving patient players an easy profit. Before we get into the list, remember I'm doing a 3-letter word giveaway every 100 subscribers. To enter, all you need to do is like the video, subscribe, and comment your Discord username so I can contact you if you win. The number 1 item players panic sell too cheap is Dark Pixie Wings. This item has a history of being manipulated, and that is exactly why you need to be careful with it. Dark Pixie Wings are one of those items where the price can move in a way that scares people. Players see the price going down, they see sellers undercutting, and they instantly think, I need to sell before it crashes. But that fear is exactly what manipulators want. If players can make the item look weak, they can convince people to sell cheaper, buy the wings at a lower price, and then wait for the price to recover. That does not mean Dark Pixie Wings can never drop for real. Every item can lose value if demand disappears or supply becomes too high. But Dark Pixie Wings are a perfect example of why you should not sell only because the market looks scary for a few days. When an item has a recognizable name, a strong look, and a history in the Pixel World economy, you need to slow down before panic selling. Ask yourself if people still want the item, if the price drop looks natural, and if the item is being pushed down by undercuts or hype. The second category is rare wings and cosmetic items. In Pixel Worlds, cosmetics can be very emotional. Players buy them because they look good, because they are rare, or because they want to flex. But when the price stops moving fast, some sellers get impatient and start dropping the price too quickly. Just because a rare cosmetic does not sell instantly does not mean it is worthless. Some items need the right buyer. If the item has strong style, collector value, or limited supply, panic selling it after one slow day can be a mistake. The third category is event items right after the event ends. This is one of the most common panic sell moments in Pixel Worlds. Everyone grinds the event, everyone gets similar items, and then everyone tries to sell at the same time. Because there are so many sellers, the price can look terrible. But that does not always mean the item has no future. Sometimes the worst time to sell is when everyone else is also trying to sell. If an event item looks good, has limited supply, or could become harder to find later, dumping it right after the event might be giving someone else a cheap investment. The fourth category is seasonal items before their season comes back. A lot of players ignore summer items when it is not summer, Halloween items when it is not Halloween, and winter items when it is not winter. Then, when that season gets closer, people suddenly start buying again. This is why seasonal items can be dangerous to panic sell during the quiet period. The item might not be dead. It might just be early. If you sell too cheap before players start preparing, someone else may hold it and profit when demand returns. The fifth category is items connected to future updates or events. Some Pixel Worlds items look useless until they suddenly matter again. Maybe they become part of a crafting recipe. Maybe players need them for an event. Maybe a new update brings attention back to an old item. This is why you should always ask, could this item become useful later? If the answer is yes, selling it too cheap during a low demand period might be a bad move. The sixth category is older items newer players do not understand. Some players get an old item, check the current price, see that it is not selling fast, and immediately list it cheap. But older items can have value because they are harder to find, less common, or tied to the history of the game. Not every old item is valuable, but some are worth checking before you dump them. If you do not understand an item's history, you might sell it for less than someone else is willing to pay. The seventh category is items that get hit by temporary fear. This happens when one low sale, one rumor, or one price undercut makes everyone nervous. Suddenly, sellers start racing each other to the bottom. But one low price does not always mean the item is crashing. Sometimes the market is just overreacting. If the item still has demand, still has a reason to exist, and still has people watching it, the panic might be temporary. The biggest mistake players make is thinking every price drop means they need to sell. That is not how the Pixel World's economy works. Sometimes a price drop is real. Sometimes it means demand is gone. But other times, the price is dropping because people are scared, impatient, or being manipulated. If you sell every time a market gets uncomfortable, you'll keep handing good items to players who are willing to wait. Here is the simple way to tell the difference. If an item has no demand, too much supply, no future use, and nobody actually wants it, then selling might make sense. But if the item is rare, stylish, seasonal, limited, useful, or historically wanted, then you need to think twice before panic selling. Cheap does not always mean bad. A drop does not always mean death. And a slow sale does not always mean the item has no value. This is why Dark Pixie Wings are the first item on the list. They show exactly how panic selling works. The price moves, players get nervous, sellers undercut, and then smarter traders look for cheap buys. If you own an item like that, do not react emotionally. Watch the market. Compare prices. Pay attention to demand. And most importantly, ask yourself who benefits from you selling cheap. So before you sell your next item in Pixel Worlds, ask yourself 3 questions. Is the item actually losing demand? Is the supply really too high? And would someone want this item later? If the answer is yes, then maybe you should not be rushing to sell. You might be holding something that other players are hoping you panic sell. At the end of the day, the players who make profit in Pixel Worlds are not always the players with the most gems or Bitcoins. A lot of the time, they're the players who stay calm when everyone else panics. They understand that the market moves in cycles. They know when an item is actually dying and when people are just scared. And they do not let short-term fear make long-term decisions for them. So be careful with Dark Pixie Wings, rare cosmetics, seasonal items, old items, and event rewards. These are the kinds of items players often panic sell too cheap. And if you learn how to spot the difference between a real crash and temporary panic, you will make much smarter moves in the Pixel World economy. Don't forget to enter the 3-letter world giveaway. Every 100 subscribers, I pick a winner. To enter, like the video, subscribe, and comment your Discord username so I can contact you if you win.